I've been mistreated, I've been used before. I get kicked in the face till I come back for more. But I won't cry no more, cause the tears are all in vain. We can pick up the pieces, start it all again. Let's just get back to the way it was before. Cause girl, I can't take anymore. Baby, don't treat me bad. But this could be the best thing that you'll ever have. Baby, don't treat me bad. You can do anything, but baby, don't treat me bad. Don't treat me bad. Oh, I gave it everything, but you threw it all away. I can't take any more of these games that you play. I've been through heartache, and I've been through pain, and it's hard to believe you still treat me this way. But I won't cry no more, cause the tears are all in vain. We can pick up the pieces, start it all again. Baby, let's just get back to the way it was before. Cause girl, I can't take anymore. Here we go. Baby, don't treat me bad. This could be the best thing that you'll ever have. Baby, don't treat me bad. You can do anything, but baby, don't treat me bad.
Oh, nice, right? Look at that. How about that? There you go. Little Ray Lytle and Mikey backups on that song, actually. A little story about that. That was
I love that version of that song.
the rest of the band. I mean, the lead singer was there and a guitarist. The rest of the band had gotten too stoned the night before, and
Were they hanging out with Jimmy?
I don't know what was going on. They were in concert for something. And the other guy that sings backups wasn't there. So that was Mikey. I think it was me and Mikey, along with the guy playing guitar or whatever. We were doing the backups. So whenever I hear that, I always try to listen to myself. See if I can hear me doing "Don't Treat Me Bad," whatever the hell the backups are. I can't remember now, but But yeah, we I wasn't a big, I never sang backup, so finding that harmony was not super easy for me, but we did it. So that was kind of cool, right?
Turned out great.
That was a fun little story for that. But it was the band Firehouse. And great little number that they do. All right, let's get this thing started. How about I give you the old theme song? Let's do it.
That sounds like a plan.
Hey, kids, what time is it?
The alarm clock screams and there's a cat right in my face. I don't want to get up, face the human race. I take a shower, I take a pee, I drink some coffee, watch some TV. But nothing seems to keep my eyes open. Nothing seems to get my blood flowing. Called up a friend of mine and asked what lights a fire under your behind. He says he spells relief, R-A-Y-L-Y-T-L-E. Have no fear, the gang's all here, so clean out your ears for the morning disaster. They got gas, 10% testes, and rock and roll piled up to the rafters. They're really immature, and there's no cure, but they'll be your favorite broadcasters. And it's Ray Lytle's morning disaster. And it's Ray Lytle's morning disaster. I took my friend's advice to heart. I bought myself an FM radio. Now every weekday starts with a visit from the morning disaster show. And now I spell relief, R-A-Y-L-Y-T-L-E. Have no fear, the gang's all here, so clean out your ears for the morning disaster. I got gas and breast and testes and rock and roll piled up to the rafters. They're really immature, but there's no cure. But they'll be your favorite podcasters. And it's Ray Lytle's morning disaster. And it's Ray Lytle's morning disaster.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Ray Lytle's Morning Disaster. I'm Ray. It's good to be here on St. Patrick's Day. Hi, who's
Oh, Lottie, it is St. Patrick's Day today, isn't it?
It's St. Patty's Day. Yeah, how about that, huh?
My brother's birthday.
My wife informed me when we woke up today. She informed me she's so good looking, you know. She goes, I'm almost 40%. She goes, I'm almost 40% English, Irish, whatever, you know. It's her way of reminding me how much Irish she has. And she goes, and so is Bella, which is our daughter. And then she goes, when we got our, I forgot which, the 23andMe or whatever. When they got it done, she goes, and then she goes, you know, we have to get yours done. Which, by the way, they could have just gotten mine done when they got theirs. I mean, you know, it could have, right? But at least she told me, we got to get yours done. See how much Irish you have. So we might have a lot. I mean, you know, that was my wife's father's side that gave her a little bit of Irish, you know what I mean? And he was German. I mean, her dad was, you know, some type of German, but he had that much Irish. So from the, you know, from his mother and, you know, all that stuff. So who knows? I wonder, you know, Lytle's a Scottish last name.
There could be some crossover.
I always thought I was Scottish. I always thought I was Dutch and Scottish. And I mean, my biggest, obviously, you know, obviously like 51% Mexican or whatever. And then the rest are Scottish and Dutch, I thought. But I don't know. My wife said, we got to get yours done. Like I said, could have done it when they did theirs, but oh well. To see what I am. I'd like to see what I am. Have you ever had yours done?
Yeah, mine was done when I was quite a bit younger. Mine was done by my family.
No,
we've got.
They have these new tests now that you take, and they tell you, you know, you name it, they'll knock off percentage of everything. These you just take your saliva.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. I have a great uncle that actually traced back all of the genealogy. So I've got a quarter Irish. I've got half German and a quarter Hungarian.
I mean, these tests they have now, they actually tell you things that like people's mothers don't tell them, you know, and people's grandmothers don't say. Like they find out exactly, you know, they can tell you 100% of what's in your background. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, there's all kinds of. I got a friend of mine. A friend of mine is one of the, and I was going to interview him, but the whole pandemic happened. I should probably still interview him. He is one of the founders of DNA sequencing. You know, he still is one of the guys that's sequencing DNA. across the country. I mean, he's one of the original people that do it. And I was gonna interview him for a podcast and never got a chance to because of the pandemic. So I still want to make that happen. I'm thinking of doing a podcast of Ray talks to people who are smarter than him, and I talk to people who are smarter than me and just explain stuff. But I want this guy to explain what he does.
I thought that was this show.
Yeah, right?
Oh, I can tell you 100% that is not this show.
Oh,
Well, now, hold on, brother.
Hey, wait a second.
Thank you, Sugar Bear. No, but yeah, so I'm pretty interested because you know, I would like to know but they have all kinds of DNA. They have different testing that you can get. Like you could see genetically what your makeup is now. Like they can test and see if you have like what your chromosomes are and stuff. I mean, it's amazing how modern science is, how far they've come.
That's wild.
We can chromosomally see how. Hold on, I'm eating some
Not bad. We're
melon.
gonna screw our kids up.
I'm eating some melon. It's so good. Oh my god.
Here we go. Ray bragging about melon in his mouth again.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so delicious. You know, sometimes you get some melon that's just about ripe, you know, and it's like, then you get melon that's super ripe, and oh my god, it's so sweet. This is it. This is the perfect. It's perfect tasting melon. So forgive me. I got a little excited when I had that bite. No, but you know what I'm talking about. You get to find out all that stuff would be cool. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. Well, and I mean, with me having traveled as much of Europe as I have, I saw a lot of where my genealogy dates back to.
Yeah.
Really interesting, actually, going in and knowing how the old name was said, how it was spelled, and everything else, and being it the mom's side of the family actually they built a village, and the original name is on the village, is the name of the village.
Wow.
So I got to see that in Germany, and it was really cool.
I want to see what's going on with me, because I tell you, in my life, this is a true story. How many people have told me that I look Asian?
I don't think the statement that we heard last time was full on you looked Asian.
Well, people have said I look like a sumo wrestler. You know what I mean?
That is more the statement I remember.
Yes. Okay. Well, I should not have any kind of Japanese in me. That shouldn't be something I have in me, but I would be interested to find out, you know, at my 23andMe, if it came back that I had some kind of Japanese in me, it would freak me out. You know, like I bet if Balint did his testing, it comes back that he was like switched at the hospital or something.
I think if Balint does his testing, it's going to have spikes in it.
Hi, Shawnee.
I did a 23andMe. 15% homeless, 3% a rabid dog in an alley, 32%, 3% Motown singer. You know, just an incredible mix. And something left over in the dumpster, 4%. It was not a very flattering. Then a certain part of the anatomy was Jell-O pudding.
Your 23andMe said
5%.
Oh, magic in
you're
the lawn.
You're 4%. Like you're 80% German, and then you're 4% something left in the dumpster. That's what you found out.
I looked over the 23andMe, and I got confused. I thought it was the ingredients for a discount hot dog, but apparently that's how it was made.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But I mean, I have so many people have told me that
8% landfill dirt.
So many people have said I look Japanese. I'd like to get the 23andMe just to see if there's
I don't
any
know
Japanese in there.
I almost think there's like a gateway thing going on there where the one thing people, I think the Filipino factor confuses people on occasion. Being the bridge between, because Spain was in the Philippines, so there's really a mix, and then people see a number of people from the Philippines, and it's that mix of Spanish, and I know you're Hispanic as opposed to Spanish, but that mix of Hispanic and Asian, and I think people kind of take away from that, and it's like Native Americans and Asians have similarities because Native Americans basically are Asians who cross the Bering Strait.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what I am. I think I'm just
during the Ice Age. Fun.
I mean, I think I'm just a Mexican guy that had, that's mixed in with,
I
I
don't see it
with the pure whiteness of a European name. You know what I mean? That's what I think. And I think that my obesity has made me look a little sumo-ish. That's what I think. But I would be interested if, the genealogy showed anything, that would be very interesting to me, to find out. Or Samoan. Yeah, Samoan would be.
I hear the Chinese.
Like, how in the hell? Yeah. Because Samoan is specific.
The Chinese
people
with
Samoan blood are specifically from a certain region,
Mm-hmm.
And you would wonder how in the hell did there wasn't any. There were nobody in my family's background were traveling in the Pacific Ocean, So you would wonder. you would wonder, where that would come from. I got to get the 23andMe done. Yeah, I've got to get it finished. Just so I can
I hear
find
the
out
Chinese are taking that they're invested in some of those programs, and that they're trying to get the DNA and everything so that they can determine your propensity for certain health problems. And here, let's say this medication in advance, and that's like a big thing I saw. So it's like, 23andMe and stuff like that.
Okay, I read something. And you guys tell me if you had read this about the COVID vaccine. And Nick, I know you read a lot. Maybe I don't know if you tell me if you read it, but I read this thing about the COVID vaccine that says, like when they do tests on vaccines and stuff, how many months they have to test it, right? They have to do before it can they can come to any conclusions. You have to do over 4 months of test or 5 months of test or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was almost a year.
No, well, yeah, but for medicinal, okay. So they've been testing the vaccines, but literally the vaccines are not old enough to where they can say for sure that blah, blah, blah. But the people doing the testing are pretty sure that even one shot, you're pretty much vaccinated. They can't say for sure because, they haven't finished the testing yet.
Well, I'll still get that one boost. I'll still get my booster.
We got to get the boost, but I'm saying that it has lowered, that even one shot has lowered the people that could get it. It's lowered it by so much percentage, which is because we are seeing a lowering of new cases, which that's what this whole article was about, was lowering the new cases and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, the whole thing was about spring break and how people should still wear masks and they're not.
Of course not.
But then it's hard
to drink like that.
Yeah. It talked about the changes that were going on and the vaccine, even one dose can really lower, but they can't say for sure because the vaccine is not old enough for them to complete the test. So, yeah, I think they got to do 6 months of testing or something, and it's only been used since what, February is when they started giving out the shots or whatever.
Yeah, but
Like
before then, it's been tested for months before that.
Yeah,
so.
I know they've tested it, but it's since they started giving these shots. This is a new study, so they won't be able to tell anything till like the summer. But it's a pretty good sign. So
yeah,
and everybody there's people who just say the vaccine's, I see people saying vaccine is bullshit. You're crazy because the vaccine 100% does something. I see Fat 420 guys in there bragging how he got his vaccine yesterday. He says, I got my first shot yesterday, didn't hurt at all. Well, somebody's just bragging up a storm, isn't he?
Yeah, wow.
all bragging going on today again.
Nick was supposed to get his second, but they put it off.
I'm gonna be out for the weekend.
They put it.
I got the Chinese COVID test. I got the COVID test in China. It didn't hurt at all. So could you do that again?
Have you gotten the vaccine yet, Sean?
By the way, that's a backdoor test. That's the source of the joke.
Sorry.
I have not yet. I'm actually eligible.
Yeah.
I'm kind of holding off a week or two. I don't want anybody to stare at me and say, that fat son of a bitch is getting vaccinated. My grandpa's going to die.
No, I think
that fat son of a bitch got it first because of his own misbehavior.
I think people can look at you. You're over 50. All right. You're over 50.
You fit all the qualifications.
Yes. You're morbidly obese. You have conditions. Plus, you've had the disease. You should get a vaccine. We know you're susceptible to get it again.
Oh, I will. I'm just kind of waiting off. I've been waiting a couple of weeks and just kind of, letting that. My goal is to see the percentage fully vaccinated at 20% in St. Clair County. Then I'm going to pull the trigger.
Sean, I think you should go try to get the vaccine anyway. It'd be a good chance for you to get a date.
Yeah.
A lot of people are picking
I'm done with that.
A lot of people are picking up women and stuff, or picking up dates. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
They're picking up
in such a
line.
weird situation. Yeah. I'm like in geographic limbo. It's crazy.
Huh. You got to get that vaccine. Like TJ
We'll
could have been the first person.
It's Nashville traffic report.
Thanks, buddy. TJ could have been the first person
Friday
to get the vaccine. He could have been the first person, but he drug his feet, waited.
Friday.
And then he let Nick get it first.
Well, somebody had to brag, and I don't like to. Friday.
You're getting it Friday.
Getting it Friday.
Congratulations. You're getting your vaccination.
Yep.
If we would have all gotten enough vaccines, who knows? Maybe we could have been drinking today.
Somebody had to keep hauling the food.
Maybe we could have done the show from like a bar or something.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Of course, I would have been on the road.
Those were great shows. I'll tell you what.
I would have had to bring you all of my mobile equipment, mobile hotspot, the car.
Dude, those were great shows. When we would do the show from a different bar on St. Patrick's Day, those were fun.
But who would do the Lucky Charms bath this year?
Well, it'd be Sean.
It'd be Sean.
Sean's the king of the Lucky Charms bath. We would always get Sean down to his underwear, and then he would jump in the he would jump in the bath water.
That just seems cold.
And bathe himself. He would take care of business. Hold on, I'm gonna try to call Nikki.
So that actually brings up another question: who was eating?
Oh God, no! Nobody would want that. Oh,
Remember, you guys Remember you made somebody eat it to qualify for the Puddle of Mud ticket?
Oh yeah, we did make a listener.
Yes, it was in it.
We did make a listener eat it.
Yeah.
Ass milk.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
I figured I would just try calling Nikki again, just to see if she was...
You honestly believe Nikki is awake right now?
No, I just thought I'd call her. I'm gonna start calling her every day. If she ever answers?
Wake up, Nikki.
Because she wakes up. She wakes up. You know, she goes to bed too late. You know, that's why she's never on in the morning.
Does that quiz anus at like 2:33 in the morning?
Yeah, she's up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh well.
So I actually have a new toy in the truck now.
What do you have?
I got a TV.
Look at so we are going to hear some bragging.
TV in the truck.
Where is the TV?
It's back in the sleeper, right over my bed.
Yeah, somebody was talking about this the other day. They were talking about a big TV. How come you don't have a giant TV in your back of your truck? Was it Nick? I can't remember who was bringing it up.
I don't know who brought it up, but no, I now have a TV in the truck, DVD player on it.
Look at you.
I need to bring you over some blank DVDs. Start getting all the DC comic movies so I can watch them while I'm at work.
Well, I could burn you some DVDs if you want. Hey, Sean Ballint. Sean Ballint's back.
Hey there.
What do you? What's going? Did you know you were back? Or you kind of look like you were doing something else, and you're like, "Oh shit!" How are
I was looking at reviews for the Snyder Cut of Justice League while I was in the waiting room.
I know,
and I didn't realize I was in.
The reviews I saw were all really positive. Did you see negative ones?
Yeah.
All I saw was real
positive
positive
yet.
stuff.
So.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope people wake up. I'm so tired of everybody wanting the Christopher Reeve Superman. I don't get it. I mean, that was a place and time. The Christopher Reeve Superman wouldn't work today. I mean, it was a great move, great character. You did a great job in a place and time. It fit the 1980s. It doesn't. This is an era of angst and, darker days since 9/11. I don't think we could put out the same schmaltzy, save the kitty from the tree Superman. I like the variety of both Supermans.
I don't understand the hate. I really, this is something I don't, and somebody explain this to me. All right. One of you listeners explain this to me. I don't understand the animosity and hate between the DC Comics movies like Justice League or Batman or whatever, or Wonder Woman, and the Marvel movies. Just because I like one doesn't mean I hate the other.
No, it's really a dumb rivalry.
I read something. I read James Gunn is the guy who directed Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think is a fabulous movie. He also directed the new Suicide Squad movie that's coming out later this year. And he worked for both. And he said, and he was talking about, both of them. And he was like, that he doesn't understand it. And I'm like, why? I don't understand why people who like Marvel movies feel that because they like Marvel, they have to insult the DC movies.
It's like, it's not a run for TV. It's not like team sports mentality. I just think it's dumb. I mean, the more the merrier.
Listen, I don't get the whole.
I don't know, but
I don't get the Star Trek versus Star Wars fans. I just don't understand it.
That's the next thing was out of my mouth. Yeah,
I like both. I like both the Marvel movies. I love the Marvel movies. I think they're wonderful. And I love the DC movies. I think the DC movies are fantastic. So I don't understand whenever someone instantly shits on a movie just because they like a certain other type of movies. I'm just like, okay, Or just the same way as like how because like the people who can't admit that a movie in a series of movies might not be good enough, and no matter what they say, oh, that movie's great, and it's like I just don't understand that thinking, that mindset of, the new Snyder Cut releases on tomorrow. That's what it releases. It actually releases it at 2:00 tomorrow morning. It'll be on HBO Max, and it's the Snyder Cut. And from what the reviews that Sean's reading, it's over 4 hours long, and it's a completely different movie. Just a little background: they were making the movie. The guy was making it, and he had put together his first cut, and the studio, Warner Brothers, said it was too long. Well, then the guy's daughter killed herself. His daughter killed herself, and so he wanted to grieve his child. By the way, his wife is the executive producer of the movie. They wanted to take some time to grieve the suicide of his daughter, right? So while grieving, Warner Brothers wanted to make sure that they got their bonuses for 2017. So they hired Joss Whedon, who did the original Avengers movie. And he also did the show Firefly, which was great. And he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was great. He did all that. And they had him come in, and he wrote he wrote a bunch of new scenes, and he took some of the existing footage, and he created a brand new movie. But he went in and he had the actors come back for reshoots, and he from what I understand, he didn't treat them very well. And Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg in the movie, is an African-American guy. And he was saying that some of the treatment that he was getting from Whedon just wasn't right. Like, it didn't feel right. And Gal Gadot also did not feel right in her treatment from the guy. So they went to complain.
And then that spurred that whole thing around Joss Whedon, right? Like where even Charisma Carpenter's coming out and saying no, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, same thing, that they were mistreated by him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everybody in his past is now coming out and saying, yeah, he's kind of a dickhead. But the thing with him is, it looked like he was basically telling them, hurry up and let's do this, let's do that. And with Gal Gadot, he made her feel uncomfortable sexually. With Ray Fisher, he made him feel uncomfortable racially. You know what I mean?
What a mess.
Long and short of it, the guy's an ass.
Yeah. And so there was Warner Brothers did an investigation into it, and then people started coming out, and so all that stuff got in the middle of it. But what they did is, so Snyder had this original cut of the movie that he had put together, and he showed it years ago, or the Joss Whedon Justice League came out, and it was, at best, it was just okay. I know for me, I'm a huge fan of comic book movies, as you guys know, and I love Batman, Superman, all that stuff. I love the Justice League. But Sean, I talked to you after I saw the movie, and I was like, I was really hoping that it would be something I hadn't seen before,
That's what you had said to me,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it felt like they had it felt like it was all rushed. And I mean, there was this ridiculous Russian family that made no sense. And they were part of it. I mean, none of that stuff made sense to me. And it just felt rushed. And I was like, well, the action was okay. And then I find out that it was none of the Snyder stuff. Like Snyder had cut a completely different movie. And so Snyder showed Jason Momoa his cut of the movie. This was years ago. Jason Momoa was filming Aquaman, and he was talking to Snyder or someone. Snyder said, well, you did that one scene in the Justice League. And Momoa was like, yeah, too bad it didn't make the cut. And he was like, oh, no, it's a shame. He goes, you got to see it. And he goes, well, come on over and see the movie. So Snyder showed him a cut of the movie. And he goes, it's unedited. So he showed Jason Momoa a 4-hour version of Justice League. And Momoa saw it and was blown away. He's like, holy crap. This is nothing like what was released. And so Momoa told people with Warner Brothers, he was the one who told them, hey, have you guys seen the Snyder cut? And Warner Brothers is like, we own it, but we haven't seen anything. We own that movie. And he goes, well, Zach filmed an entirely different movie. And that's what got Warner Brothers interested. And Momoa was doing interviews for Aquaman, and he wouldn't shut up about the Snyder cut. Like he would tell people, the Aquaman movie starts with what had happened in the Snyder cut. And people had never seen the Snyder cut, so they had no idea what he was talking about. But it started all of these comic book fans talking about this imaginary Snyder cut. And then Ben Affleck went through all his, Affleck had to go through rehab, and he had that movie. What was that movie called? The Way Back or whatever? Which, by the way, was a really good movie. He had that movie that was coming out, and he did a few interviews, and he had seen it. By that point, Snyder had showed it to him, and he had talked about it. Well, so last fall, Warner Brothers hired J.J. Abrams for something. I don't know what J.J. Abrams is doing. And they changed people in charge, and they shook a bunch of things up. And they had someone, the guy that was new in charge, finally reached out to Zack Snyder and said, hey, let us see a cut of this Snyder cut we keep hearing about. And they were like, we own the movie, which, by the way, Warner Brothers does own it. It's Snyder filmed it, but he doesn't own the movie. He had just put it together. By the way, to go through the grieving process, he ended up putting it together, but the effects weren't done and stuff. He had put it together. And so he showed it to them. And the guys at Warner Brothers saw it, and they were blown away. They're like, holy shit, this is amazing. How much money would it take for you to complete it? And Snyder said, I think it would take like $40 million, whatever it was. And so Warner Brothers said, hey, we'll give you the check. We'll write the check for $40 million or whatever if you can complete this. So Snyder hired or got all the people that finished the effects, got a new soundtrack, and then he called, and I just read this yesterday. He called all the actors and said, hey, could you guys do reshoots? And Sean, I don't know if you heard this, but all the actors, there was no money for them to do reshoots. Like there was no money to pay Ben Affleck to come do reshoots, and they did them in Snyder's backyard or something.
Wow.
But he did it. Because the thing he saw was so good. He's like, that is so good. I want to complete it. And so he did it. All the rest of the actors did reshoots. Jared Leto, who played Joker in the first Suicide Squad, he showed up and did reshoots, no pay. Ezra Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, was in the middle of filming that Harry Potter thing he does for Warner Brothers. He was in England filming that. Whatever it's called, the Fabulous Beast or whatever thing that they do.
So,
whatever
something.
I don't know.
Fabulous bestiality, whatever they call it.
So Snyder called the director of that movie and said, "Hey, could we borrow Ezra?" And then he called Ezra Miller. And Ezra Miller said, "I'll do it, yeah." And he goes, "Hey, we're gonna mail you the costume and everything, and we'll send you the script of what we need you to do for the reshoots." And they said, "Yeah." And so what he did is the first whatever the director is of the movie. I have no idea. I was listening to music. I have no idea what that is. So he sent the script and stuff to Miller, and then he had the guy who directs the effects or whatever for this movie in England. He was connected to Zack Snyder, and then Snyder talked to him over the phone and said, "Hey, have him," and he could watch it on Zoom. And he goes, "Hey, have him do blah, blah, blah." And that guy directed Miller doing the reshoots. And then they took all the stuff and they cut it all together and did all that. And then they got the reshoots and everything chopped together, and it's done. And so Warner Brothers decided they were going to put the whole thing on HBO Max. And it's 4 hours and some odd minutes. And it debuts tonight at 2:00 in the morning, and it's called Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that
should be something.
Yeah.
Ray, you're gonna wait and watch that like after the show tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'll watch it after I. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna watch it after I get back from working out. I'm gonna. I'll watch it tomorrow afternoon.
Well, I compare the original Justice League to the Avengers. I guess two things stand out. Number one, I like what Ben Affleck does. I like seeing the crotchety, older, approaching get off my lawn stage Batman, who's just, you know what, I just had enough of these people. I'm not putting up with any BS. He just kind of that crabbier, older Batman, less idealistic. And but you know, if you stack him up against Robert Downey Jr. as the point guard, the focal point, that's a tough matchup for anybody, because I mean, Downey was just so masterful in the Avengers, and that's not, I mean, Affleck's not, he's not meant to be that kind of guy as Batman. Batman couldn't be that kind of guy. But then but I guess to me though, the biggest failing of the original cut was Steppenwolf was just such an abstract
the bad guy.
I mean, Thanos is obviously a cartoon. Thanos is so much better than Steppenwolf. Their representation of Steppenwolf. To me, that is the biggest difference between the two.
You're going to make a big movie like that. If you're going to make a big movie like that, the bad guy has to be evil.
And Josh Brolin was masterful on the reads.
Yeah, you never got the feeling. You never got any emotion whatsoever from the Steppenwolf character and the thing that Joss Whedon had put together. So
he looked like it was like the Whammies from Press Your Luck. We're taking over the universe. That's what Steppenwolf was like.
I gotta go with Sean. It was definitely when you saw Thanos was totally evil.
Yeah, Thanos was a great villain because there was part of the people who watched it, because in the Avengers, the Infinity War and Endgame, there were people who watched it that goes, "Oh, Thanos evil," but what he talks about in a crazy person's mind makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Thanos' big thing was he was so worried about the all of the different planets that people are on. He thinks people were using up all of the planet's resources. So he wanted to kill half the people that lived on every planet so that the planets would last longer.
He killed his own daughter.
He just wanted to kill. But because in his mind, that was the only way to save the planets.
So locked into ideology that
yes, that was the character. He was so locked into ideology, which, by the way, I'm sure was sort of a play on the Trumpers of the world. You know what I mean? I think that's what was going on, but still, he was so evil that it made it a good movie because you really wanted to root for the good guys to beat him. And in Infinity War Part 1, he wins. And it was like, oh shit. That's what made the Avengers. The Avengers Infinity War and Endgame is
phenomenal.
In my mind, I mean, it is the end all of all comic movies. I thought it was fantastic. Okay, so this Justice League was supposed to be something special, like along those lines, and it wasn't. So at least now we can see if it's a hunk of shit or if it's really good, and we'll see that on HBO Max tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to it, or this weekend or whatever. But I'm going to watch it tomorrow, and I want to watch it before all the basketball games get going.
Oh yeah.
By the way,
it starts tomorrow.
Let me tell you right now, you guys. I talk about gambling a lot, because I'm a big gambler. I've been winning a lot. Have you seen my bragging about my winning lately, TJ?
You've been bragging a lot about your winning lately.
Dude.
Right now, I can't even bet because I'm out of Illinois.
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you something. Now's the best time because there's a guaranteed win. Okay? Let me tell you right now. There is a guaranteed win on Fanduel right now.
Oh.
If you're one of these people who hasn't tried sports betting, take my advice. 100%. And if you're not, and if you don't have the FanDuel app, let me know because I can get you an extra $50. But just let me know and I'll get you a link, right? And then you sign up for FanDuel, you'll get a free $50 by going through me. But then they have a bet right now for Michigan State. They've got Michigan State at plus 95, which means, and this is the big promotion they're doing, which means there's a maximum bet of $50. You put $50 on Michigan State to win, and as long as they don't lose by more than 95 points, you win the bet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which they're like they might lose by 8.
Like, bet that today.
Yeah. So, and the game is tomorrow night. So I'm telling you, if you would like, and you'll win, you put $50 on it, you win like 45. So if you go through me, you get the free $50 and then you get the $45 from the bet. You could make $95. I'm telling you, I'm not making it up. This is super simple. Super simple. You can win $95.
That's the bet. My God.
Yeah. It's crazy. It is, it's nuts. So you could win it just by going through FanDuel. So,
and of course, you'll be calling your bookie throughout the tournament as well.
Yeah, well, because my bookie is in New Jersey, so I can bet Illinois. I can't bet Illinois through FanDuel because they're a state school, so you can't put bets on state schools. But dude, I put a bet on Illinois. Back when the odds were not in Illinois. Like if you put a bet on Illinois now, a $5 bet you might make, if they win it all, you might make like $9. I put a $5 bet on Illinois like in the middle of the season through my bookie.
Yeah.
And if Illinois wins it, I win 100 and something. Because it was part of the season when Illinois was not doing well. So I got my timing on that was perfect. So I've got that bet sitting on Illinois right now, where I win a lot of money if Illinois wins. Because right now the odds are in their favor. I mean, they're a number 1 seed. I'm seeing a lot of professionals are saying that the final is going to be Illinois and Gonzaga. That's what everybody says is going to be. So
think it's going to go down to that?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. I think Illinois is really good. I think they're really good. And the way they're playing defense right now, holy shit. Who knows?
When was the last time Illinois won the whole thing?
Never. Well,
Never?
I mean, not in my lifetime. No.
I looked it up. They went all the way in 05, but lost it in the finals.
Yeah, they lost in 05 and they lost in 89. In 89, right. They lost in the semis. And those are the only times during my life that Illinois has gone, I think. I mean, I don't remember Illinois. I know they won it once many years ago, but none of us were alive. So it would be really interesting to see it happen. This state would go crazy if Illinois wins it, right?
I wonder if Chicago would make the Chicago River orange at that point for Illinois winning it.
Yeah, I don't. By the way, I saw that they turned the lake green or the river
got
green.
It green again. Yep,
that's kind of cool.
And remember, they turned it blue for the Cubs winning the World Series.
Yeah. I wonder if Illinois somehow won the championship. You're right. Would they turn it orange?
That'd be kind of cool if they did.
I always worry every year when I see the green thing. I go, what the hell is the damage to the river? There's got to be, you know what I mean? There's got to be some kind of damage to the river by doing that, right?
No.
It's got to be something horrible.
Radioactive fish with 4 eyes or something.
Yeah, something's got to be happening because of all this food coloring or whatever they're putting in the river. I don't know.
They've got it. I don't know what they do to. Oh man!
But
like they got it so green this year, it looked like slime. Yeah.
It's a bright green. So I would, and like when the Blues won, it was very very blue.
Yes.
By the way, I hear an alarm going off.
Not on my end.
In my house.
Oh.
I'm hearing an alarm from somewhere.
Time to get up, Ray.
Yeah, I don't know where the alarm is, but I just heard an alarm.
It's the alarm to wake up Sean.
I just got off the phone with Snyder. I'm really excited about this. Snyder has released his director's cut of The Morning Disaster. And in this cut, I get all the chicks. Really, yeah. I brag about my fitness standards.
Well, we know that's
I recut all of my scenes, so I did it for free.
Do you ever imagine your life differently, Sean?
Every minute of every day, I think so.
I'm just saying.
Constantly.
Do you actually go through a list of wondering what you could have done different, or who screwed you over to get your life?
Constantly. I mean, there's
really,
it's like there's a Sean Billent multiverse. And I imagine the Sean Billents in other dimensions having everything. And well, I mean, I had a chance to go to Texas 11 years ago. I imagine, I had some of the same skills as my mentor, as who was going to bring me down there. And I don't know, I'm not very good at office politics. That was going to be a part of the job. There was someone, I was going to run the radio program down there. They had the office door with my name on it. And, moving to Texas, it's when I first realized I have a weird physical issue, and moving was, a challenge trying to get ready for that. But I was, I was happy where I was at, a little creatively stifled in St. Louis by a boss who refused to evolve. We were kind of chummy at one time, but that went south. Right. But yeah, I wonder about alternate universe Sean, who's probably living in Snyder, Texas, with a cute Latino wife who really can't stand him, but he has one of the better jobs in town.
Oh, so
I'm kind of that from.
You have locked in a scenario of what would have been.
I have locked in several scenarios. Yeah, I've locked in scenarios of how to notice certain things with certain women, or I would have been more. The thing is, some of the mistakes I make. I listen to women when they say, "Now, if you two fight, I'm not speaking to either one of you." Well, if you're the guy who, whatever she says, I'm going to follow those words. Then you'll find out she's with the guy.
Oh boy.
Because he's he's playing underhanded. You don't play life like a Boy Scout. Let me tell you, you live like a Boy Scout. This is how you live.
Let me make your
unless
life
you
better.
Really have something going on.
I want to show you something that can make you feel better. All right.
Okay.
There you go. Those are Krispy Kreme.
Faith and Megara.
St. Patrick's
I think I know
Day
where I'm going next.
Green donuts. Those are what's available today from Krispy Kreme.
Oh, there and go, Brock.
The green donuts from Krispy Kreme.
Since I don't like corned beef and cabbage, so this will work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't smell like corned beef and cabbage, so that's a way to celebrate.
The green glaze, it looks interesting.
Reminds me of Lucky Charms.
It'd make you poop. God knows what kind of color, but
oh God, now
just
we're
like
there,
the Halloween Whopper.
Yeah. There you go.
Don't get the orange or the green Krispy Kreme donuts. You'll get green poop.
Yeah, you're gonna get the.
The people I can't stand are the people that say I have no regrets. Bull.
I mean, I tell you, I don't have a lot of regrets. I really don't. I mean, I wish I wouldn't. And
there are different layers of regret.
Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have left the Morning Disaster in 2005.
Yeah.
I wish I would have signed one more contract. If I'd have signed one more contract, it would have brought me to 2008. So I would have signed a 3-year deal. They offered it to me and I wouldn't sign it. So I wish that I would have done that, or I wish I would have taken one of the other jobs I was offered around 2002. I was offered, several jobs. No, I was offered Miami in 2005. But I'm saying around 2002, I was offered some really good jobs and I didn't take them. But it was because at the time, I was offered in 2001, but Dee was pregnant. Okay. And then right when I signed a new contract in 2002, but I had a few offers and I decided to sign and stay. So that's probably the time that I wish I would have left. I did get offers in 2005, but I did everything wrong. Like Sean, you know the Miami story, right?
Yep.
I had an offer from Miami. They flew me down to Miami to check it out, and it was beautiful. I mean, where I, it was gorgeous. It was literally one of the nicest areas I had ever been. I liked it that much. And they offered me a contract right there to sign and everything. And I had said, well, let me go back. I want to talk to, let me go back and talk to my bosses that I have now. Let me talk to my wife and let me tell everyone, and then I'll sign, and I'll get back to you guys. That's what I said, which, by the way, that seems reasonable, right? To everybody out there listening, everybody out there, that sounds reasonable. Right? Somebody offered you, and they were offering me a shitload of money, I think it was the first year was 130 something. I think it was 135. Then it went up to 180 something, and so it was a pretty good contract. But I said, I'll get back to you as soon as I tell my wife. I just want to make sure. That sounds reasonable, right? To everybody listening. So I fly back home, and my wife is like, "Oh, hell yeah, let's do it." And I go in to have a meeting with my boss at QLZ. And I say, "Hey, I got this offer. I wanted to tell you about it." He's like, I heard. He goes, "We heard that you got the offer." So he's like, "Yeah, we're already looking for your replacement." And he goes, "Just congratulations." And, he even invited me to go out and celebrate. He goes, "Dinner's on me." And, so I basically call the place in Miami and I say, "All right, guys, it's a done deal. Let's do it. Let's get it done." And the guy tells me, the guy from Miami says, "Let me give you some advice." I go, "Okay." He goes, "When a market as big as Miami tells you, we want you, and we say, why don't you sign this and let's get going, the last thing anyone wants to hear is you to say, let me think about it and get back to you." He goes, "Our response to that is fuck you." And I was blown away. And I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember what the exact words were, but I was blown away by it. Completely shocked me. I had no idea. So that's what happened with Miami, and it blew my mind. I had no idea, because if I would have known, if they would have said, and this is always my take on it, if they'd have said, "Hey, we need to know right now, or we're going to the next guy." But they didn't say that. They made the offer so comfortably, I just kind of felt like, okay, so this means that, here's the offer, like, like it was more relaxed. And I guess it wasn't. And then them saying, "Our response is fuck you." And I was like, whoa. And I was blown away by, this is obviously the real life. This is how, this is how adults work. And that shocked me. I mean, that literally put me back. And that happened in 2005. Sean, you were like there's only a couple of people that knew I was going to Miami on that particular weekend. You're one of the people that knew.
Yeah, you sent me the picture from Joe Robbie or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Pro Player Park, whatever the Marlins Stadium was called at the time.
And one of the people that knew talked. I only told a couple people. And one of them talked, which was stupid on my part. I shouldn't have told anybody. I should have just accepted the job offer. Well, I should have just accepted.
Yeah.
But, I wanted my wife, I wanted her to have a say because we were going to pick up all our lives. And my daughter was 4 years old and we were going to pick up and move literally across the country. I had no idea I had to give an answer at that meeting. So, yeah, that was probably the dumbest thing I did.
Yeah,
but outside of that,
you didn't realize it's take it or leave it, and then
yeah,
it's just that's the process.
Outside of that, I don't have I don't have a lot of regrets outside of that, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's a shame. It's like, like somebody tells me a secret, even if we have a party in the ways, we're no longer friends, and to me, that deal still stands. Unless they did something completely unthinkable. If there are consequences for the person, I don't share the secret. It's one thing if it's gossip with no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
When people do that crap, for the small, short-term buzz out of sharing a secret.
Yeah.
What does that compare to, the aftermath? And what a weird period. And then I think they were under pressure at the time, and I think things got a little irrational there for several months. But the following show and the games and making sure the people who were like me and Bodine, and all of a sudden it was a freak show and we weren't allowed to do anything and they'd cut us off, and it was just
I didn't understand that.
Period.
Because here's what happened. They started the interview process with the person who replaced me when I was in Miami. They started that interview process with her when I was gone because she was fired from WYMG. So they talked to her then. And they're like, well, Ray's going to Miami. That's what they had told her. And so it was a done deal. But for me, it wasn't, because after I was burned from the Miami thing, I was pretty beaten up on, taking a job. You know what I mean? Because that's a pretty big slap in the face. And I was affected, after all that stuff. I was affected, and
I'll tell you that. What a strange turn.
Yeah, and it was crazy. And then all of a sudden, I was out of contract, out of job, everything, and it hit me all at once. And so that sort of that was a bad summer for me. That was a bad summer. Because literally, all I needed was 2 weeks off work, and I'd be fine afterwards.
And that's the interesting thing is when I talk about things in the past, it's like, oh, you can't be hung up on the past. It's like, well, no, when in radio, the past is a present. It sets off a whole different cycle of events.
It all comes back to
what happened to me 10 years.
One way or another.
What happened to me 10 years ago, my resume, my ceiling was lowered permanently by complete lies. And like I said, obviously what happened there, it's kind of like dating. If you're with somebody, your market value goes up. And, what a cruel thing to be pursued by the big time. And then, that's unbelievable. And like I said, you're still feeling the effects 16 years later. And again, you say regrets. Regrets don't have to be, oh, my life was ruined. It's like, this could have been better. Yeah. To me, there's a range on regret. And I think people don't, and I will admit I am heavy on regret. I'm like Clint Eastwood, Hang 'em High movie kind of regret. But I don't think regret's a bad word. And I don't think it's necessarily living in the past.
Well, I just think we got to move on. What do you? With
Yeah.
me, I realized a long time ago. I realize there's no time machines, so you can't go back and fix anything. So you might as well keep looking forward, because that's the best chance you're going to have everything work out if you're clear-minded going forward, and so that's why I don't live in the past. There are things that have happened in the past that have been troubling, and this is everyone. I think everyone says this. There are things that have happened in the past that have been very troubling and you wish wouldn't have happened, but there's no way to go back in time and switch that. Like, I wish there was a way that I can go back to the meeting and say, all right, I'll sign right now. Let me sign. Let's get it taken care of. I wish I could go back and take some of the jobs that I didn't take, or sign the contract here that I should have signed, all that stuff. But yet there's no such thing as a time machine. So you've got no choice but to look forward.
Nobody's found Jim's trusty bong yet.
Yeah. If only I could travel through time like Jimmy. Yeah, if only that were true, but it isn't. So you've got no choice but to go forward.
Well, as people say, I wouldn't change a thing because then I wouldn't be who I am today. I would change everything because of who I am today.
Oh, you would, but like, I would change plenty of, like, listen, I wish I wouldn't have eaten so many goddamn carbohydrates when I was young. I mean, I wish.
Oh man,
I wish all kinds of things.
Yeah, but physical. Oh, it really is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is something. The things we did, and it's really when the first sign that I had physical issues, but I love what we did in our 20s when we were playing pickup basketball. I mean,
yeah,
to me that, you're having fun, you're competing, you don't even realize you're exercising.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's all kinds of things that I do differently, but
except for my basketball skills.
That's different from, I'm just, because I had a bad time in the past, I'm just giving up. I'm just telling you the only way to figure out what you're going to do in the future is, like I say all the time, I'm done with radio. I do mean it. I don't want to return to radio. I really don't. I think it's just a scummy business.
And it's only getting worse. I mean,
yeah,
I got in, you guys were in radio long before I got into it. I was late. And it was already starting to downturn when I started doing it. So I took advantage of every opportunity I had when it came up. But it was just so scummy then. And I can't even imagine what it is now.
It's a shit business. It really is. And I would like to think that I'm never going to be back in it again, but yet then again, I don't know. I mean, I'm almost next month, at the end of next month, I will have been unemployed for a year, which is crazy. I'd have never thought I'd say that. Wow. But it's crazy. That's how we've been doing this show. It will be a year at the end of April. So it's middle of March. I mean, that's crazy, right, Sean?
Wow.
Think about it. Yeah.
That doesn't seem possible.
Yeah.
To me, that show was making something that I thought was going to be pretty hard to pull off work. I just thought, no, Pete, I never shared any secrets. I thought that you built an interesting dynamic with a guy that I thought it was impossible, because you and Bill Bishop were so different. It became this great odd couple show.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really starting to gel and create and
well,
yeah, and then you move to a different guy,
Bishop
and then he moves on.
But Bishop is still being paid by a company who wants him to have a certain take on everything. He is paid by an organization that wants rich people to pay low taxes, period. And everything he does is supposed to come from that perspective. So
Ray, you called me quite a few times, just frustrated and out of angst, trying to figure out what to do to move it in the direction you wanted to go because you were fighting that with Bishop.
Yeah, and
that's the show now.
Yeah, and now that's everything. I just find radio disgusting. I really find talk radio disgusting. And it's not that I think it's not that I don't like the news. It's I don't like the coverage of it. I don't like the coverage of so many people are coming from this is the only correct perspective. And I just don't like it.
And I think news coverage too has become like the guy who doesn't watch a football game and then he gets on TV at night. Hey, well, this quarterback choked. He threw 4 interceptions. Well, if you watch the game, you'd know 3 of the passes, either the receiver screwed up the route or fell or bounced off a shoulder pad, but he just looks at the stats. Oh, he choked. That's kind of the way news coverage is now. And I think, it's like they don't really know what happened during the meeting or whatever. They're just kind of taking a few facts, piecing it together. Sometimes you got to have some FaceTime with the newsmakers. And I'll tell you what, I think you'll agree that the pandemic for radio, I realize it was a cash crunch, but I thought it was a hell of an opportunity where I think people, okay, I got all these iTunes. I'm burning out on my iTunes. I've mined all the old music. There's only so much new music. I'm alone. I'm sitting at home. I just got to have like a local friend on the radio and not someone who sounds like a scared card reader suck up.
Well, I gotta tell you,
I think this pandemic, I think it was a huge opportunity for radio, and all they did was go further in the wrong direction.
Yeah, they fired anybody who was a local host. This is all over the country. Yeah. Radio stations fired local hosts and saved money by hiring people who were either, syndicated or had an agenda. And I just, it's not, and then, and then of course, Rush Limbaugh dies. So all of these radio stations have an opportunity to do something different. Finally, if you want an interesting statistic, look at the amount of stations that hired a local show to replace Rush Limbaugh. It'll blow your mind. 0.
Very low or very high?
It will blow your mind because it's 0. Nobody hired a local host to replace Rush Limbaugh. Don't get me wrong. I find radio is gotten so bad that most people have just given up on it, which I think is sad because of this reason. People care about local things. They care about them. But we at Springfield had a council meeting last night, city council meeting last night. People care about that. But where are they going to get coverage of it? Where are you going to get entertaining coverage of it? There's none.
Violence in the streets. Fire,
you can get Greg Bishop's coverage of it, but you're going to get his coverage of it based on what his company's take is. And their take is always lower taxes for wealthy people. That's the perspective you're going to get.
What I was going to say is when you and him were doing Council Roundup, not only did you get the facts from it, it was entertaining at the same time.
Yeah. But now it's like the perspective, it's just him. You're going to get the perspective of what's in his best interest. So it's always going to be anti-union. It's always going to be anti-taxes. That's what he's going to do. And not every subject is like that. There are, like, for example, last night, the city of Springfield passed maternity paternity ordinance. Okay. It's going to cost the city some money. However, it's a pretty good thing, because anyone who's had a kid will tell you, anyone who's had a child will tell you it's a good thing. So some things do cost money. Some things do cost. And this is something that the city of Springfield is paying for. But at least it should be discussed, and you should let people with both views talk about it. And I'm telling you, that's not. It's coming from it's coming from his perspective, which is, I'm telling you, it's already been chosen. It's the anti-union, and it is the pro low taxes for wealthy people perspective. That's just what it is. And I'm just saying that radio needs to come from the perspective of there's more than just this facet. This is a multifaceted thing that happened. So let's discuss it. And no one comes from that realm.
Well,
I'm just saying.
You know what? And you can do radio more efficiently. I think, the one thing I do too is have people more community involved. I wouldn't have them at powwows or tied to abstract charities. I would have them on the ground swinging hammers for Habitat for Humanity. I thought, like, the girl I worked with at one point on WFMB, you can't walk out in the parade anymore and stand on, I'm an air personality. Oh, hello there. Well, it's 2021. That doesn't work anymore. And she walked an APL dog. You got to bring an X factor.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is huge, especially with the fact that community service organizations have imploded quite a bit.
Diversify the talent to get locally connected to your community and build the local stations back up, because the local radio stations where you're connecting to what was happening in your community. That's gone.
I was once told that I thought one of the best things
I did. You don't have to do that.
I thought it was one of the best things I ever did, and I was told it was 100% wrong. And that was when I was first on WMAY doing talk. So this would have been around 2011, 2012, whenever that time was. I was doing a news story, and I said, oh, this to me sounds blah, blah, blah. And I basically said, this is what I'm thinking about it. And then I was taking phone calls, and somebody made a call. And I go, hey, wait a minute. Let me stop you there. You're absolutely right. And I said, I changed my mind. I said, you're absolutely right. I changed my mind. No, you make all the sense in the world. And I did that, and my ass was chewed out up one side down the other. Like, you can't change. And I go, why not? They said, you can't do that. You're showing the weakness. I'm like, what weakness am I showing? I thought I was showing. Strength. Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty strong for me to do it the way that I did it.
And strength of character too, because you're open-minded to different ideas.
And here's what it was. It was honest. The guy's call was from a perspective I had never taken before. When I thought about it, I went, this guy's absolutely right. And that never happens. I mean, I love Jim Leach, a friend of mine. Name the last time that Jim Leach took a call from someone who wasn't liberal and said, you know what? You're absolutely right. Never. They just don't do that. They don't do it. In modern radio, it's these talk show hosts believe that they make a point, and no matter what, that's their point. And life's a lot more difficult than that.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't all 100%. This is the truth. It just isn't. Life is much more. It's much more complex than the way radio makes it. So I'm just saying that's my problem with radio and I can't do that. And for me, I like to come at it from what's entertaining. I always want to go back to the joke. So when I was doing talk radio, I always want to include humor. And so many people have a problem with the humor because you're not being serious enough. Well, what the hell is so serious? I want to know what's so serious about the ridiculous things that our city council does in Springfield, Illinois.
There's been plenty of them.
Or what's so serious about our state government? Or what's so... I just... And the fact that people can't see it, it's just shocking to me. It is just shocking to me. So radio has passed me. I could never play that. I can't play that. I can't play the I'm always right, you're always wrong. That's the only way it is. I just can't play that game. I like being more realistic and that's and I like being funny. I just think that's how it works.
Well, I mean, I've got an opinion for everybody that's gotten so serious with everything. I cannot express that opinion without editing it, but I have an opinion.
When hosting a show, I had an opinion too. I had an opinion on everything. I had just come to the conclusion, not everybody wants to hear my opinion on everything. Not everybody wants to have an opinion. And you know what? Not everybody wants to share their opinion. That's the other thing with doing radio. You've got all these so-called fucking experts that will tell you, let's find out what so-and-so wants. Let's get everyone's opinion. No, everyone's opinion isn't that important, including mine. Not everything, not every little thing in life, not everything in life needs an opinion discussion, an opinionated discussion, and everyone. Sometimes in life, it's, hey, there's green donuts today. Which, by the way, means
more interesting.
Means fucking nothing. It means nothing. It's nonsense. There's green donuts today.
And the Chicago River is green.
Yeah, some of that stuff is just nonsense. But my God, what's wrong? What's wrong with people listening to a fucking radio show? Now you get me all fired up. What's wrong with listening to a fucking radio show and walking away with it saying, hey, you know what? It's kind of funny they're having green donuts today. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Why do I have to listen to a radio station and say, the taxpayers are being blah, blah, blah. Who gives a shit? I mean, some things are above that.
Like green donuts.
Yeah, let's just have fun. Let's have fun, and let's talk about green donuts that make you shit green.
And Sean's statement from yesterday.
Yes, and sometimes it's not the size of the wand; it's how much magic you have in it.
That's right.
I'm saying.
In other words, I was taught I'm a bad person if I have pleasure during the reproductive process. So
I'm telling you, if I hosted
I don't
a radio
deserve
show
to
today,
enjoy myself.
If I hosted a radio show today, I would be talking more about those green fucking donuts. I would say, isn't it amazing that this pandemic has us not going to bars like people have done forever on St. Patrick's Day? You can't go to a bar and have a green beer, but you can do a drive-through at a donut shop and get a green donut. We're all unhealthier. We are now unhealthier because of a pandemic.
You know what? A green donut and a green beer, that sounds really good right now.
I just, I don't know. Radio is so, it's so beyond my realm. I have no desire to do it. I have no idea what I'm going to do next in life. I really don't. I have no idea.
Not Chippendales, I hope.
No. But I don't want it. I don't want it to be radio where someone's yelling at me for talking about green donuts, or where someone's pushing their own agenda at all cost, you know. Or if someone's trying to be, it's like, oh, I've got to be snide and smart ass about everything. I think that's just what radio is.
So if you got a chance to do like this style of show on, say, a classic rock station,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what people want because I don't listen to music radio. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm so far removed from radio that I'm sure none of my ideas are right. I'm not saying that this is how it should be. I'm just saying that this is what I disagree with. And I know how radio's going and I disagree with it.
well, I disagree with you saying that your ideas are not necessarily correct, because the radio industry keeps falling on its face and dying and falling on its face and dying some more and dying some more and dying some more. You're right. It needs a shot in the arm.
Well, radio won't stop until these guys who run radio now, they won't stop until the industry's dead. The industry's being killed. I'm telling you, I've shared with you guys this story. I had someone called me and wanted to talk about what I do every morning on this show. All right. Mm-hmm. They wanted to pick my brain. Hey, let's pick your brain about what's going on. Okay. Yeah. You can pick my brain. So we're having a conversation about it. And I've told you this before. They were basically saying that they want to create exactly what we do every morning on this show. They want to create it. And they want to make it like, and this is a company that had several radio stations in a market, and they wanted to make this concept like their next station.
And then you said to them, do the letters FO mean anything to you?
Well, no, I was like, wait a minute. So you're saying you want me to tell you how I do this so you can hire people to do it and pay them? And then you want your sales staff to sell it. But yet at no point during the conversation did them saying, hey, we'll buy your show, or we'll hire let us hire you to do it, or we'll have our sales staff. Let's make an arrangement for our sales staff to sell your show. None of that came up. And
I don't get that.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. And I was just like, it was in that conversation when I said, I'm done. Radio's done to me. It's just, you could have a conversation with me about what I'm doing. And the whole conversation was about the listeners too. Like, what do I do to make my listeners show up? What do I do to make my listeners buy products from Recontacts? Or how do I get the listeners to buy stuff from Hendrix or Head West? You know what I mean? That's what the conversation was about.
You're honest about the only reason I tried Head West is because I know how brutally honest you are about the different things that you support. So I'm going to go try it.
I'm saying that's what they wanted to know. They wanted to know how I how I did, or how I was doing what I was doing. But yet I'm like,
you don't want to pay me for that?
Well, you could fucking, I mean, it was like, well, you could just fucking hire me. You want me to tell you for free how you could spend a bunch of money and do exactly what I already know how to do. It was just mind blowing. And I realized then I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
I don't get it. You know, every other field that's out there, it's always scrambling. They're scrambling for the people who have the experience and the knowledge, and they will pay top dollar for that because they can teach the younger generation how to keep it going.
Well, I just didn't get it. I was just blown away. That's the last conversation I had about, and I think that's probably my last radio conversation I've had, or that I'll have, because I don't think I'm going to do another one. It was then that I walked away from the conversation saying, okay, I've got to find something else to do. I'll probably end up doing something else. I'm going to end up selling something to somebody. That's probably what I'll do for a living.
Maybe you'll be driving Uber again before you know it.
Yeah, whatever. But I can't be. I can't get back in the radio industry. I'm just done with it, and I'm just frustratingly telling you why I am out of that industry. There's no one that understands it. But I also think that's where the industry is. You know,
I go back to this because I bring up every once in a while that, you know, I went to a Pickles gig on my 24th birthday, and that was the golden birthday that year, and I had a blast. But the thing I remember most about that is I sat down with you afterward, and we were just shooting the shit, and I had done all this study and gotten my degree, busted my butt, looking at a contract, and I asked you, how do you know for sure you're cut out to broadcast? And you gave me the best words right there. Dude, when you get up and it's the only thing you can think about, you love it that much, you need to do it.
Yeah.
And you said, but I'm warning you, it will get in your blood.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, I don't feel like that anymore. There is no, like, throughout my life, there has always been that station, that thing that I wanted to work for, that thing that I wanted to do. Now there isn't. This. All I know is I like doing this.
Well, this renewed.
I like doing this. I would like to try sports radio. I'll be honest with you. I would love to try sports radio.
I've said for about the last 5 years, you and Sean Balint doing a sports radio show, I would love listening to that.
I love sports, and I think that sports is the only thing I can think of that you have people that are politically opposed to everything. They can still get along if they're both fans of whatever team.
Right.
I think that's what makes sports spectacular. And the other thing is, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is turn on Sports Center. I don't turn on the news.
Anytime I go over to see it, you always have
I always
sports
have
on.
Sports Center because
Yeah.
And here's I had to sneeze. But this is because when they do sports, it's always accomplishments.
There's only one time I could think of that I was at your house. You did not have sports on, and it's because we hadn't unloaded the TV yet.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when I like sports because when you turn it on, it's always like, for example, turn on my sports this morning. It was, they wouldn't stop scoring last night in the New Orleans versus Portland basketball game. Zion Williamson scored 28 points, blah, blah, blah. But Dame Lillard ended up scoring 43 points. And it was always accomplishment.
And it's always something different, too.
But it's always so-and-so accomplished. Dame Lillard accomplished scoring 43 points last night. That's what I was heard about. That's what I heard about this morning. If I turned on the news, it was
degradation.
The Republicans are mad about blah, blah, blah. People are worried because the president is blah, blah, blah. Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. The Capitol insurrection is blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear. That's all bad news. It's news is bad news. I don't want to turn on something and hear about there was a fire at blah, blah, blah last night. Or the stock market is doing this or that. No, I'd rather watch something where they say so-and-so scored a record number of points. That to me is cool. That's what I want. That to me is good news.
Or a record number of strikeouts.
It talks about accomplishment. Sports talks about accomplishment. Now, part of the problem with sports radio is sports radio would be people today doing a sports radio show would be, why in the fuck did the Bears hire Andy Dalton? Why did they give a $10 million contract to Andy Dalton to be their quarterback next year? And I don't care. For me, I look at it and I'm like, okay, the Chicago Bears have screwed up this offseason. They obviously want the quarterback from Seattle, Russell Wilson. That's obviously what they want.
Right.
But they didn't do enough to get him. And obviously they haven't come up with any plan B. And the clock was ticking. And they said, shit, we better get a plan B. And they went around, they looked for plan Bs, and the best that was left was Andy Dalton. So they just threw $10 million at him. And that's who they're getting to come in.
Is, if you look at NFL, that's not a big contract for NFL.
No, that's backup. That's a good backup.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole Russell Wilson thing might be done now. You know, there might be nothing left there.
brace
But that's
myself for another season of disappointment with my Bears.
But yet, I would hate doing a show that's just 3 hours of people bitching because you got Andy Dalton. So I would not like that. But I would love to try sports radio.
Like I said, you and Sean doing
to talk about accomplishment and fun.
Oh my God! When you and Sean, I went to that one city versus county softball game. And you and Sean were announcing it. Oh my God!
Yeah,
it was fun. For Sean, it got rid of all of his jokes in like 3 minutes. And you spread yours out throughout the game.
Yeah. When I write that stuff, I like to spread it out.
It was fun, and I'm sitting down in the stands just listening, going, "Wow, way to go, Sean!"
Yeah, I just that's my take on radio. Is I just think maybe it's past me. There's the fear. But oh well.
There's an off chance it could wake up again.
Well, the Bears did get Andy Dalton.
I hope he performs.
That's a done deal.
I hope they get an offensive line.
I hope he doesn't play. I hope he's just a backup who sits there. I hope that the Bears could still get Russell Wilson or whatever. And if you just wanted to get a free agent quarterback to come in and be a starter, it certainly wouldn't be Andy Dalton. The kid that was at Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew, that's someone that could come in as a starter that you build around. I would think that they would, that they were going to go that to try to get an actual starting quarterback. That's who you'd get. But that's pretty big news because, locally, the Bears are the big team.
Right.
But I'm mystified. I'm mystified by the NFL why this year all of a sudden we're seeing such movement with quarterbacks. I mean, literally, the Philadelphia Eagles traded their starting quarterback to Indianapolis. There's rumors that all these guys want traded. There's all these young quarterbacks coming up that people are trying to get good picks for. The NFL offseason got way more interesting this season. And that's been pretty fun.
I haven't been able to keep up like I normally do. But I've also been gearing up for like baseball seasons around the corner, spring training's going on. I've been following spring training close. I'm like, oh God, I can't wait. The Cubs are showing life.
And now in this state, we allow gambling. So see, I love gambling. I just love it. I don't think I'm addicted to it or anything, but
it's Jason.
I love talking about it. I've made my parlays public. Okay.
And you're winning most of them lately.
Dude, have you seen the parlays that I'm putting out there? It's crazy.
You've got to have enough in the bank now to do that $50 bet on Michigan State.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I already made the bet because I finally had the money. But it's because I changed the way that I was doing parlay betting.
Sticking to individual players instead of over-under.
Yeah, I've been like, for example, I had the parlay 2 days ago. That was Julius Randle from the Knicks scoring 20 points, James Harden from the Nets scoring 20 points, Kyrie Irving, James Harden getting 6 rebounds, Randle getting 8 rebounds, Randle getting 4 assists, Irving getting 4. So I've been doing stuff like that and putting them together in one big parlay and getting some success with those things. Like last night, my parlay was I had Kemba Walker scoring 15 points, Tatum and Brown and Mitchell all scoring 20 points, and then Tatum and Walker making 2 threes, and that was a big parlay win for me.
Yeah.
So I've been mixing things up like that and winning big lately. So I have figured something out Um,
Well, something that works for you, especially because of how close you follow it.
yeah. But here's like last night, I had a guy that came to me and said, "Hey, give me a winner." And he said, "I'm going to sign up for your tips thing." He goes, "If you just give me one winner tonight." I said, "Okay." I said, "You sign up. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to start putting the tips on the Patreon show. So it's a $5 subscription to Patreon, and you're going to get your tips. So however that's going to work out, that's what it is." And I give the guy one. I say, "Okay, I'll give you one." I say, Victor Oladipo is a guard for the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets want to trade Victor Oladipo. So they want him to have great performances. They want him to have a performance that makes another team go, "Shit, I got to get that guy on my team," and trade for him. The Houston Rockets were playing the Atlanta Hawks. The guy that's going to cover Victor Oladipo is Trae Young, who is about the worst defensive player in fucking NBA basketball. All he does is shoot. He doesn't do anything but shoot. He just drags his ass on defense. I hate Trae Young. I think he's one of the worst players in basketball. I seriously do. He doesn't cover anybody.
Right.
So I tell the guy, I say, so take Victor Oladipo points over. I go, "There's my tip." Guy says, "I'll do it." He puts like $50 on it. The over-under on Victor Oladipo was 20.5 points, which means Victor Oladipo had to score 21 points in order to win the bet.
To cover it.
Yeah, the guy had $50 he put on it, right? Victor Oladipo ended up scoring 34 points last night. It was a surefire winner. I knew it when I made the bet. I 100% knew nobody's going to lose his bet. So I let the guy know. And the guy thanked me. He was like, "Holy shit." He goes, "That's amazing." I said, It's not magic. That's the bet you make. You don't make a bunch of other bets that are going to be losers because you're guessing. Well, I kind of think so-and-so is going to have a big game. So maybe I'll make. No, don't make that. If you kind of think, don't make it.
Right.
You know for a fact. I knew for a fact Victor Oladipo was going to have this big game.
Well, it was like when we did the Super Bowl bet. You know, I was sure Kansas City was going to get it. Kansas City was going to get it. So I put my money on the money line for Kansas City. And then halfway through, "Oh, you're still thinking Kansas City's going to do it, but I'm watching this debauchery. Cash out."
Yeah. I'm taking my money and running.
Got my money back.
But I'm saying last night I did parlays and Victor Oladipo.
Right.
So I won my Victor Oladipo and I won all my parlays.
There you go.
So and what I was telling that guy last night was, put the money on Oladipo, you're going to win, trust me. And he won. So when I look at tonight's games, that's what I'll do. I'll look at, I'll look at all things. I'll look at every game and say, what's the definite point spread winner if I just want to pick a game? And then I'll look at individuals and I'll look at points and I'll say, "Oh, you know what? So-and-so is playing shitty defense or whatever. The guy playing him is on fire.
That's a surefire thing.
So-and-so can have a big night." And the thing with Oladipo is they're trying to trade him. So they want him to look good. They're running the ball through him. They're having everybody pass to him because they want him to have a big game so they can trade him and get more out of it. I'm telling you, the guy's a good bet. These are the things they all go in to make a quality bet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I told the guy, and he got it last night, and he thanked me profusely. And yeah, and
now he's
I'm
a subscriber.
Yeah, and I'm starting. I'm starting all of the bets with the NCAA tournament, but I really enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed going through my NBA sheets and figuring that stuff out. It's fun for me because it's not looking at politics or bad news or people bitching about something. It's just accomplishment. Who's going to have a big accomplishment? That's what it's about.
Man, look at the time.
Yeah, it's getting late. I just realized we got to wrap it up. Be back tomorrow with our last free show of the week. Yeah.
Go get that sweat on.
Yeah. All right. We got to wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody. Free show tomorrow, and then subscriber show Saturday, Friday and Saturday. It's Ray Lytle's Morning Disaster. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye, everybody.